22 Magnum. We're going to do the 5-plate knockdown. The plates should actually go down if I hit them, but then if I get all 5, I'm going to engage the hostage target, where the goal is to hit the bad guy, not the hostage. I don't know if the 22 mag will have enough weight, enough mass and momentum to flip that, but we'll see if I can at least hit it. The Kel Tec PMR 30. That's a stubborn bad guy. We got him to bounce, but not flip.
Right here, our little 22 Magnum, and we are going to be taking it to the bowling alley, or at least the shooting bowling alley. I've got 4 bowling pins up, and hopefully we'll end off with a nice splash from our little not sponsored Mountain Dew soda can.
All right, let's talk about this gun. Since we had so much fun out shooting it on the range, it is a unique firearm in a lot of ways. And whether you like the review or not, whether you agree with our scores, if you have a chance, if you see somebody out at a range and they seem cool, they have one of these, and they're willing to let you shoot it, definitely give it a dance. It's one of a kind, really. All right. We have 8 scoring areas, a score of 1 to 5. Please keep in mind that 3 is industry standard. Let's start with comfort of grip. The grip is long this way. It's not a wide gun, but it is long, and if you have small hands, it's not real comfortable to hold. If you have large hands, it's wonderful. And despite being kind of a different shape and texture, it felt great in my hands. I gave it a 4.
It was a little difficult to get my hand around and fit comfortably. I could still hold it and be fine. If I had just normal size hands, I'd give it a 3, but because my hands are smaller, I have to give it a 2 because it did feel a little difficult getting it to set just right.
Let's talk about sights. This gun has fiber optic sights. The rear fiber optic sights are actually are molded as part of the slide, and the fiber optic cable is put in and then melted to. It's green in the front, orange in the back, and during daylight, they are amazing. This is a range toy, a backpack, something you're going to shoot during daylight hours. These are the easiest sights to pick up I've ever worked with. They're spectacular. We didn't shoot it at night, so we're not going to score it on that. But I'm giving it a 5.
They glowed. They gave, it wasn't just a painted red stripe in the front and 2 white dots in the back. They popped. It was easy to just keep that green in between the oranges, and so it was awesome. So I give it a 5.
All right, let's talk about the trigger. This trigger is actually tactile. I mean, if you put pressure on it, it doesn't just fire. It requires some pressure to make it fire, but it doesn't pull you off the target. It's a very, very clean trigger. I was really surprised with that. I liked it a lot. Above average. I gave it a 4.
I shoot slower than he does. In pulling the trigger and just from point to point to point, it's just true because I'm still getting comfortable with it. So being able to pull the trigger back and find that moment of tension, basically letting me know the next pull is going to fire this gun. It gives me the confidence that I know when this gun's going to fire, and the trigger is telling me when it's going to do that, instead of just wait for it, oh, there it is, and I really appreciate that. So because of that, I did give it a 4 out of 5.
Let's talk about perceived recoil. When you get something that light, you kind of expect more recoil, where it's at least going to pull the muzzle off the target when you're doing multiple shots. And this doesn't. It has almost no perceived recoil, and doing multiple shots in a group, it stays on point ridiculously well. I actually gave it a 5 for this.
This gun was really nice to shoot. The recoil on it was light to non-existent. When I first picked this up, I thought you were kidding. I thought you put a toy gun on the table. Because it is so light. It feels like with a prop gun almost. And so you would almost expect, it's not heavy, it's not going to catch that recoil, but it does, and it doesn't affect it at all. So I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Let's talk about accuracy. This isn't a target shooting gun. I mean, you can look at it and you can tell this wasn't intended for long range 22 competition, like the Mark IV or something along that line. This is more of a 2-inch group type gun, and it does admirably for that. And if you get used to shooting it, you can put together some really good strings. So again, I'm going with average.
I would have to agree in that when shooting this gun, I will take some responsibility and say I got cocky shooting a 22, and I was like, yeah! And then I didn't hit some of the shots I wanted to, so yeah, part of that's on me, but I don't want that to reflect on the gun itself, because that's user error, that's not mechanical error. So for that reason, I think 3 is an appropriate score.
Let's talk about ease of reload. I actually really liked the way you change the mags. I don't like the magazine release button being in the back. It's fine for range shooting, but if you're going to carry this gun, that's an easy spot to get bumped, and you can have the mag come out. But as far as ease of reload, you push the button, the magazine comes out clean, and because it's somewhat triangular shaped, the front is narrower than the back of the magazine. I find it easy to guide in that way, because you take the narrow edge of the magazine when you're bringing it up into the back part of the gun and just let it kind of slide in and forwards and up. And to me, it made that very instinctive and simple. I actually gave it a 4 for the mag change.
I found it extremely annoying, and I'm sure there's a purpose for it. I'm sure there's a reason, but even as he was talking about earlier, if it's in your pocket or a holster, it could get bumped. Now I'm pulling something out without the magazine. I mean, it's
not going to do you much good.
I know, so I had to give this a 1.
It's too light to beat anybody with. Let's go with reliability. On this gun, read the instructions. It tells you how to load the magazine, and it works. If you use Kel Tec's description and instructions, you will have no problems with this. I gave it a 3 on reliability because it cycles and it runs clean all the time. I think I've had one problem running about 300 or 400 rounds through this gun. But having said that, I would have rated it higher, except for the fact it's difficult to load the magazines, and you do have to pay attention and read and do it exactly how they say. And under duress, if you're trying to load a magazine quickly, it's not going to work great. So I gave it a 3.
Shooting this gun out on the range, it went boom when I pulled the trigger. It didn't fail to eject. It didn't fail to feed. It was a pleasant experience shooting a gun, and that's what I want in a gun. I want to be able to know that I can fire it, and that potentially, if someone's coming at me, I'll be able to hit him with this gun. And I feel confident enough. I didn't shoot it perfectly, but again, part of that could be user error. Like I said before, I got overly cocky in shooting it, and so I would give it a 3. It met my expectations of a gun that I think I could rely on if I needed to.
Our last category is ease of maintenance and cleaning. It can be challenging. There's lots of little parts. It's not something you're going to field strip. If this ceases working, you're going to put it aside and take out a knife. Again, it's too lightweight to use as a hand-to-hand weapon, so if it's not shooting, you put it away. It's not something you're going to just take apart and work on very easily out in the field, because it's a pain. I gave it a 2 because everything works the way it's supposed to. And I understand why they had to do the things they did, again, for the lightweight and the high capacity and all the other yada, yada, yada. 2. Words fail you.
It really do. It was just so many pieces. And it seemed like they could have put some of those pieces together, or they could have combined some, or taken 1 or 2 out and, I don't know, found a better way to do it. It just seemed tedious once you got to the top part up here. It's like, no thanks, I'll just leave that gun over there and I'll go grab a different one. Yeah, just leave it. So I give it a 1.
Okay, well, let's look at our totals then. If you add up my scores, I gave it a 30.
When you add up my score, it comes out to a 23.
As long as I clean it for her and load it, she's fine.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, thank you guys. That's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, point those crosshairs at the like button down below, and make sure to stay tuned for more reviews coming soon. See you then. Another one in. By the time I've reloaded, the zombies have eaten my brains. So...
It's a light snack.
You were a light snack.
They ate my hair while you were trying to reload. Thanks for that.